Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Mike Bell and this is a Practical Training Professionals. Today we're doing one of our favorite types of videos. This is a disassembly, reassembly of this guy, the Glock 44 chambered in 22 long rifle. So let's get into it, guys. So like I said, today we're going to be doing a disassembly, reassembly of this guy. This is a Glock 44 chambered in 22 long rifle. It is one of our new favorites. We really like this. Ever since the ammunition charges for 9mm started getting outrageous, we switched over a lot of our training to 22 long rifle. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. All right. First thing, as always, let's go ahead and separate the ammunition from the firearm. Go ahead and remove that magazine. That's empty. Get our fingers a little bit dirty here. I don't know, do you guys prefer 2 in here or 1? But maybe just the pinky. Yep, nothing in there. That's nice and empty. We want to go ahead and slide the slide to the rear, an open breech position, and engage the slide catch. Inspect the chamber for ammunition. That's empty. And then we want to inspect, I always do it here, inspect the magazine well, make sure that's empty too. All right, now that we've cleared this thing of ammunition, we want to go ahead and release the slide by hitting the slide release. All right, I like to go ahead and squeeze that trigger here. I still make sure it's pointed in a safe direction. Squeeze that trigger. All right. Now, there's a few different ways to do this. I'm going to show you I guess, the average way to do it, and I'm going to show you the way that we do it. All right. The way that a lot of people do this is they'll have you kind of, well, first things first, let's go ahead and point this out. In order to release the slide from the frame, you're going to need to use these slide release tabs here. They're knurled so that you can get grip with your fingers, and there's one on either side. Okay, guys? Now, knowing that, I'm going to show you something. So if you take your non-dominant hand and you just slide that slide to the rear just a little bit, just so that it breaks the plane here of the rear of the frame. You don't need to go too far, right? You really just want to just get it open just a little bit right there, all right? If you do that, and then you take your dominant hand and reach up here into these grooves, and you slide down these, so again, you need to make sure that the slide is open, and slide down these 2 pins, right? And then you'll notice the slide just wants to come right off. See that, guys? Super simple, right? And then putting it on is the same way. You just slide it back. All right, now it's good again, but we'll go ahead and I'm going to show you an easier way to do it for some of you with maybe weaker hands, or maybe you just want to try to do this, all right? So if you're on a table, you know, this mat's all busted up, so I don't really care about it. But if you take your firearm and you walk it forward just a little bit, again, just a little bit until the slide is past the body. And then you take your non-dominant hand here and you push those 2 things down. Again, I'm pushing in that direction here on both sides of the firearm. I'm pushing the slide catch down, right? So again, I'm going to walk you through that again. You take your firearm and you rotate it this way, just until you see that you're a little bit proud here. The slide is past the frame, just a little bit. All right, then you take your non-dominant hand, push those 2 slide releases down. All right, and then you can walk the firearm back around. Now you'll see, it comes right off. All right, there you go. So at this point, you could spray all your shooter's lube in here, anything else you want to get that clean. Inspect anything, inspect your trigger, inspect all that stuff. You want to do some trigger work, now would be the time. We're going to set that thing aside. Now, field strip, that's all we're doing here. We're not going to get into the action, the sear, or anything like that. So what you want to do here, again, is remove the recoil spring and the guide pin. This is a spring, right? And sometimes you'll end up pushing this thing and it'll shoot across the house. So I always like to kind of just keep a hand on it and go ahead and take my non-dominant hand, grab that, my dominant hand, use my thumb, and I want to go ahead and just push that pin up just like that. And now I can grab that and set it down. All right, now at that point, I take the barrel, slide it forward a little bit, and then lift up from underneath here, and I can slide that barrel out. There you go. So now you've got your frame, you've got your recoil spring and your guide pin, you've got your barrel, and you've got your upper receiver or slide, whatever you want to call it. This is an opportunity for you to get in here and clean out really good, lube, do a function check, all that stuff. We'll get into that in a second. So assembly is the same way as disassembly, just in reverse. Go ahead and take your barrel. Now, I want to point something out. I'm going to point it out now, all right, so that you don't ask questions later. There are two slots here. One of them is flat. The other one is radiused, okay? That's important. I'll show you why in a second. Put the barrel in here. You want to make sure you're putting it in the hole. Drop it in there. All right, and then just slide it to the rear, just like that. All right, now you want to take your recoil spring with your guide pin and go ahead and insert it here. Now, this is why it's important to pay attention to what notch you're putting this pin on. If you put it on the top notch, right, you would think, okay, maybe it will not go back together. I promise you, you will not be able to get the firearm back together if you do that. You have to make sure it's on that bottom notch with the radius cutout. So, the way that I like to do that is keep my finger on the barrel, all right? That way I'm holding the barrel to the rear position like this, and then I could take my thumb, drop that back in there, take my thumb and I could push up and sit it on that notch, all right? And it's kind of a pain in the butt, but I promise you that's the easiest way to do it for me. All right, now we're ready to reassemble. So take the frame, again, as most of these, you've got your slide guides on either side here that correspond to slide guides on the slide, the upper receiver here, all right? We want to go ahead and match those up. And we want to go ahead and walk the slide to the rear, making sure that we're not bashing anything, okay? Now, once we get it to about this position here, then you want to take it all the way home. All right, that's our quick little function check. Making sure we're good to go here. To do, again, finish the function check here. We know that the slide's working. Go ahead and point it in a safe direction and go ahead and squeeze that trigger. All right, good to go. I always like to do that more than once, and third time's a charm. Another thing you'll notice here is with the Glock, right, as I was just mentioning, if you go ahead and throw the magazine in there and you rack it to the rear, it will stay open. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is the disassembly, reassembly of the Glock 44 chambered in 22 long rifle. All right, like I said, guys, today you've effectively seen how to disassemble and reassemble the Glock 44 chambered in 22 long rifle. If you found value in what we're doing here, if you like what we're doing on this channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like us a lot, consider hitting that notifications button, that thumbs up, and sharing with a friend. You helping us by doing that is the only way that we're going to continue to provide this level of content. Yeah, so with that, guys, as always, learn, defend, prevail, and we're out.